Okay, so we're going to be drawing the plasma membrane and labeling it. And I'm going to start off by drawing some phospholipid molecules. So that's really the main component of the plasma membrane. Now, phospholipid molecules contain really two components. They've got this hydrophilic head, which we see here. And what this really means is that the heads are water-loving, they're in contact with the water. And they also contain this hydrophobic tail. And the hydrophobic tails basically dislike water, they try and stay away from water. I'm not going to add in a phospholipid. You should add that in your exams, but I'm just going to shorten it to hydrophobic tail. And because the plasma membrane is a bilayer, it's a phospholipid bilayer, that means there are two layers of these phospholipids. So this is our first layer, and then we need to add another layer here. So we just do the same thing on this side. And as you can see, the heads are always sticking towards the outside in contact with the water. So if we say this is the outside of the cell, and this is the inside. And basically here we'll have water, on this side we'll have water, but in the middle we'll have just a hydrophobic tails, which are trying to get away from the water. So they really directing themselves towards the middle. And the next thing we're going to draw, which is found in plasma membranes, is integral proteins. Now, integral proteins are proteins that are basically embedded in the plasma membrane. So you can just draw it like this. And since they're embedded, we're just going to draw a few phospholipid molecules again. Make that one slightly longer. And so yeah, once again, they're just proteins which are embedded within this membrane. So that's our integral protein. We also have cholesterol within this plasma membrane. And the cholesterol is really found a bit all over the place. It's really between these phospholipid molecules. So you just, draw a few of them here and there. It doesn't really matter how you draw them. As long as you represent them and label them, you'll be absolutely fine. So there we go. That's our cholesterol. Another thing we also find in the plasma membrane is peripheral proteins. Now, peripheral proteins are proteins that are on the surface of the plasma membrane. So I'm just going to draw one for you. So again, it doesn't really matter how you draw it. As long as you represent it on the surface of the plasma membrane and you label it, you should be fine. So that's our peripheral protein found on the surface of the membrane. Okay, and then we're going to draw a few more phospholipids again. Again, like in the exams, don't take too much time into trying to make your drawing really looking nice. I mean, it has to be neat, obviously, but you don't want to waste your time either. You need to, the most important thing is that it's all there. As long as it's legible and understandable and neat, you should be fine. what we find as well is glycoproteins. Now, glycoproteins are they're integral proteins, but they contain a carbohydrate group. So you just draw again your integral protein, and you kind of just add a carbohydrate group. So I'm just going to add again some phospholipid molecules on each side. And finally label our glycoprotein. And this is our carbohydrate group. And lastly, I think you're required to label the phospholipid bilayer. So we're just going to label that quickly. So this makes up the bilayer. These two layers here, so that's our first layer, and then the bottom layer makes up the phospholipid bilayer. And that's it.